productivity, there's a lot of planners out there, online planners, Notion, Airtable, ClickUp, Monday. Do you recommend people use an online plan? So that could be more beneficial for the planning, like your big three for that day, for that week, for that quarter. But in
Mhm.
terms of day to day stuff, would you recommend a physical diary or a planner versus an online?
The reason why I like the physical planner, because even in the planner, there's a space there to write not just your to do list, but your schedule in the planner that I've designed. And if you use a planner, I recommend that you not only have a to do list, but also an agenda or a schedule where you can write things out. And the reason why is because science has proven that there's a connection between the brain and the hand. And when
Mm,
we
mm,
actually write things out, even more so than typing things or clicking them into our phone, when we handwrite things out, they sink into our brain more, which gives our brain, if we write down the three things, like I said, if we write those three things down that we need to do the next day, our brain immediately from that moment starts working on it subconsciously, working on
mm,
how is the most effective way, the most efficient way to do that. I'll tell you a secret. Our brains hate burning calories, right?
mm,
Our brains were designed from an evolutionary standpoint because let's think about our ancestors. They never knew, it wasn't like today. They never knew when their next meal was going to come, right?
mm,
So in between the gathering or the hunting, they had to conserve calories. That was what the brain evolved to do, was to conserve calories, meaning, hey, thug the caveman, don't climb over the rock. That burns too many calories. Just walk around it. You're walking on
mm,
flat. You don't have to climb and you'll get around it and you'll be fine. Right. So when we give it a task, we say, okay, tomorrow I need to record a podcast or I need to edit videos or I need to do whatever. Right. And we've written it down. The hand connects it to the brain. The subconscious starts thinking, okay, how can I get this task done in as few hours as possible, burning as
mm,
few calories as possible, and still have it done effectively? And so our brain is a magnificent efficiency machine if we'll let it be. But we've got to prime the pump.
mm,
We've got to give it that, and writing it connects that and gives that to your brain. Even if you don't do what I do, where right before sleep you think about those tasks, that's the only time that I go back to business after stopping work is right before bed. I think about my tasks for the next day, meditate on them for a minute. Even
mm,
if you don't, the fact that you've written it down, your subconscious is already connected at, it's taken it in. But absolutely, I use Asana. I've used Slack. I've used ClickUp. I use Google Calendar and Asana primarily right now as a hybrid system
mm,
because I do have a team. And so it's easy for my team to look in Asana and see what they need to do, what I've put in there, for me to look and see what they've accomplished. But we transfer what's in Asana, we transfer what's on our Google calendars back into our physical planner because it does solidify that in the brain and it does keep us more connected to our goals versus just using a digital and relying on just the alarm going off or just
mm.
a reminder on our phone.
Yeah, nice. Back to the Netflix thing. So yes, our brains um, hate burning calories because it's for survival. Like we need energy. If we can save energy, our brains will try and save as much energy because we need that for ourselves.
Hmm.
Hence, to survive. Do you think that's why? So people at the end of the day, they switch off, but then they watch Netflix for 2 3 hours, or they watch stupid TV for 2 3 hours. They're saving energy, but at the same time, nothing's getting done, so they're not being productive. So, do you think meditating for 30 minutes? So, like, let's just say someone finishes their work and they finish at 6 o'clock. Yeah, most
Hmm.
people will, maybe go for a walk outside, or they cook dinner, they watch Netflix until 9:30, 10 o'clock. So they waste 3 4 hours, but for them, that's saving energy. But then that doesn't actually make sense because they're saving energy, but then they're going to bed. Yeah.
So so here's the thing. Here's the fun thing about that. Uh, people think that they're conserving energy and maybe physically, but they are actually stressing their brain out more when they watch 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or
Mm.
6 or 12 hours of when they binge watch TV. And here's why. Again, everything that I do and everything that I teach is based in science. And what they found is for you to focus on a show, even on your social media. So you're sitting there, maybe you're not watching TV, but you're scrolling through your social
Mm.
media. What happens is you're stressing your executive function. You're scrolling on your social media and you have to make millions of micro decisions like that. Do I like Josh's post? Do I comment on his post? No, I don't. Should I click this article? Should
Mm.
I read? Then within the
Yeah. Yeah.
article, there's all these other links. Whether you know it or not, your brain is making these decisions. You're getting
Mm.
what's called decision fatigue. So instead of resting your brain by doing that, you're stressing it. Same with watching TV. Your brain, for you to really focus, deep focus, it takes about 25 minutes, which is why multitasking is such a horrible thing, because there's really no such thing. It doesn't really make you more productive and it doesn't make you more effective at doing good work, because it takes you about 25 minutes to really get into the groove of what you're doing. So that being said, you watch a TV show, the average sitcom is about 20 minutes. So just as your brain is really starting to get into it, it switches to a whole nother storyline. Or say you watch something for 40 minutes. Great. Now your brain's gotten into it. It's into it for about 20 minutes. Then you got to switch to another story, or, the next episode, which might be still the storyline, but it's not a great, it's still switching, right? It's still
Mm.
bringing your brain making your brain have to jump, whether it's for a week or whether they do a flashback or whatever. You've got to catch up, so then it takes 25 minutes. Well, all this time your executive function is just going absolutely nuts. That is why when people binge watch, when all they do on the weekend is just sit there and watch TV, they dread Mondays. That's why they're
Mm.
tired on Mondays. That's why people, even if they go to bed at a reasonable time, if all they do is watch TV, that's why they're more tired in the morning. Their brain is tired, which then communicates to the
Mm.
body, I'm tired. So your body responds thinking, oh, I'm tired, right? Your brain dictates what your body does. So if your brain's tired, your body will be tired. That's
Yeah.
why it's so important to do something different. If you've been sitting in front of a screen all day, don't sit in front of a screen. At least
Mm.
not all night. My family, we do like to watch, like, uh we'll stream an episode of something, but it's like an episode, right? The rest of the time we're getting dinner ready, we're engaging with each other,
Mm.
we're talking about how our days went, and preparing for the next day, making sure homework's done, and going for walks when the weather is good, and when the weather's bad, watching the snow. That's right now it's snowing, watching
Oh
the
well.
snowfall,
Mm.
things like that. So that way we're not stressing our executive function, because we've already stressed it
Mm.
all day long doing work, doing knowledge work especially, and we don't want it. We want to give that part of our brain a rest. A good rule of thumb is, if you work with your brain, break with your body. Do things with your body, whether it's going for a walk, even just looking out the window, or
Mm.
meditating, or doing some yoga, or sitting around. Maybe you're sitting but you're talking. Okay, that's doing stuff with your body instead of doing stuff with your, if you want to give your brain a break. Scrolling through social media, watching TV, they call it mindlessly, but it's not mindless. Your brain pays attention to everything.
Mm.
And when you're more focused on that kinds of stuff, you're stressing it. And science has proven this over and over again, and it's becoming more and more clear that that is why people are tired. And that's why your day starts with what you do the evening before and how you use that time. And again, I'm not saying, listen, I love Star Trek. Look, right behind me, I've got the Starship Enterprise up on my wall, right? I love a good Star Trek marathon. When I'm sick, I'll do nothing but watch TV,
Mm.
because, I can't get out of bed. I can't focus on reading a book, and I'm not really watching. It's more just the noise is on, right? So I'm
Mm.
not saying that there aren't times when that's appropriate. I'm not saying that you can't watch a TV show, or even two. But getting sucked into the binge watching, it It gives you false dopamine hits. It stresses your executive function, and it does
Mm.
not prepare you to have a good night's rest so that you can have a good day the next day.